I told Dane I didn't know that we'd be completely comfortable until 2:30, so,
Who, Bain?
yeah.
Do you want to wait till he gets here then? I mean, we got plenty of time.
Yeah, let's,
I think I'd rather wait if we told him 3:30 instead of him coming and, 2:30 instead of him thinking that we did something
well,
different.
and Kent, I forgot to bring yours. We are passing around a copy of a letter that we got from the students at Cedar Ridge. I did send you guys, I think, a scan of the letter itself. And then for the commissioners that went with us, I have their own individual cards at the office. So we'll send those with the planning commission packages.
So somebody else just came in.
Who just got here? Hello?
Carl's here.
Who is that?
Carl.
Carl.
Oh, Carl Pruitt. Hi, Carl.
Hello.
It's good to hear your voice.
So it doesn't, Matt, does
be
it
heard.
show up on your computer?
No, not right. I just have the slides right now.
Oh, okay.
I guess I could.
I could try to get out into it on my phone.
I was gonna say I could.
Well, I could
They
even do
told
that.
us Monday that when somebody hits mute on their phone, it makes that same sound. So that's not necessarily somebody getting on and off.
Yeah.
You sound like Chip. Hey, this is Tab. I'm on the call.
Hi, Todd.
Hey, Mayor.
Welcome to planning commission pre-meeting. We're waiting 10 minutes because I told Vane that we were going to try to get everybody comfortable with what was going on. And then we'd start actually formally meeting at 2:30. I do have, you guys, one of the things on the pre-meeting agenda is that draft of the Windicator update. I do have some hard copies of that, if you guys would like a hard copy.
I saw it electronically.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
You've seen it a lot because you're on the committee too.
Well, I'm not a very active member of that committee.
Okay, y'all, Bain has just come in, so we can go ahead and get started.
We almost matched, man.
So I'm gonna go ahead, Karen, let you start with the agenda.
Okay. On the agenda today, we have only one public hearing, and that is a minor plat. It's a replat of a replat. We're consolidating Lot 9 in a replat of Townhouse Gardens with a larger piece of property behind it. And Lot 9 and part of that property will then become a half-acre lot, and the rest of the property, the roughly 5.5 acres, will remain as a second lot. There'll be lots 9A and 9B. And we have had 7 phone calls now on this one, so there may be some questions today, although Matt and I both feel kind of comfortable that we were able to resolve and help everyone that we spoke with. After that, we have 3 certificates on the agenda. Does anyone?
Yeah, but before we go too far, just on this replat,
Yes, sir.
just make sure that everybody understands exactly what's happening and see if anybody has any questions.
Okay, Myrna, I'm just going to call you out. Do you have any questions?
Y'all, this is something we've dealt with
I
before.
do. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Okay. What is the outbuilding?
The outbuilding?
Yeah.
The building they want to build.
They
Yeah.
would like to build a storage building on the back of the piece of property that has Lot 9 on it. One of the
Okay.
things that we've asked them to do is that they can't have any living quarters except for the townhouse that's on Lot 9.
Okay. Thank you.
And you can't have an accessory building on a residential lot without a home there. So that's what they've done. They've combined this with that townhome lot so that they can put another accessory structure there to store stuff in.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Okay.
We have 3 certificates on the agenda. One is on Chapel Hill Road, and we're basically undoing something we did a few months ago. The next one is consolidating 6 pieces of property for the Seventh-day Adventist Church that's there on the Beltline, and creating one tract of 1.85 acres. One thing we are asking them to consider strongly is that they rezone all the property to one zoning district, and that be the ID district, which is the easiest one to do a church in. We also have a certificate to consolidate on Pineview Drive and south of Kenilworth. They are consolidating 2 pieces of property, kind of similar to what Kent was just saying on the really big one, or the minor plat. They want to be able to build a garage on this second lot that they've acquired, and the only way to do that is to consolidate everything. So that's what's going on there. Then we're ending the consent agenda. We'll have annexation 35920, which is the Morris property that we've been looking at for pre-zonings. And that will be on the council agenda for May 5th. I think that's right. They'll annex. They do still have 3 steps in the subdivision process. They will need to get preliminary approval and final approval. Final approval is when we get bonding for the public improvements, and that's when they can, when we have that bond in the hand and the planning commission chairman has signed the plat and the conditions have been met, they can start selling lots. And we'll assign addresses, and addresses are the thing that starts lets the building department know that the lot has been through the process.
Missed page
Yeah,
16.
You missed
Karen.
the
Did I miss?
site plan.
Site plan
I've-
for
It's all right.
fairgrounds.
And I don't have a Post-it on it, which might explain that. I apologize.
It's page 16.
I'm going. Page 16 is a site plan review for a warehouse. This is also something that we've recently worked on a rezoning for. This is the one that last month we approved an addendum to the certificate that had created the lot. Mr. Parker's been working very, very closely with us and very, very well with us to meet the conditions of that addendum and to get the site plan review submitted and ready to go. They are working to make sure that while they do this, they are extending utilities so that if someday they need to subdivide, they will be able to do that.
Yeah, I really like the way that they've gone about this, where they're setting it up that it could be subdivided in the future and meet the requirements of streets and
They have done
utilities and
an
things like that.
excellent job of setting a very high bar and letting us know what needs to be done and how it's going to be done. Is that one of our funds or? Oh, okay, good.
Any questions of any of the cases?
Hey Karen, this is Eddie. If you would, could we talk about page numbers as we go through this?
That's a good point.
Yes, sir, I will do that. That's a very good suggestion. It just didn't cross my mind. So we'll do that for the rest of the meeting.
Okay. Yeah, I think several of the mics are live and I keep hearing pages being flipped. I got a little confused, but I'm caught up now.
Thank you, Eddie.
That's probably us up here. We could probably move these mics back. Eddie, can you still hear me pretty good?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Okay, since we have a lot of material that's currently under council review or has been recently reviewed, I'm going to read through the items so that you guys know where we are with them. Zoning 134320, we were applying an ID zone to another Church of Latter-day Saints. This one is on 5th Street Northwest. That has been approved. Rezoning 134220 is a request to rezone a .16 acre tract from B2 General Business to B5 Central Business District, and that has been approved. Annexation 35920 to annex 4.42 acres on the north side of Old Moulton Road at the end of Brookline. The second read was February 17th, and that has been approved. Rezoning 1344 to rezone a .44 acre tract from M1 Light Manufacturing to B5 Central Business, the corner of Bank and Cherry. That has been approved. Rezoning 134520. It's 31 acres across from the Ag 2, I've got that messed up with the way I've written it. It's like Fairgrounds and Sims. It's going from Ag 2 to M1A Expressway Commercial. That is the item that rezoned the property that we just talked about doing site plan review on, and that the applicant agreed to put some conditions on his lot that require a site plan review and landscaping and things like that. So we feel real good about that one. That has been approved. Pre-zoning 1346 to pre-zone a 91.9 acre tract to R3 single family residential located north of Upper River Road between Deer Road and Old River Road. That has also been approved. That's this month's annexation. To pre-zone 5.25 acres to R6 single family townhomes has also been approved. Vacation request 51820 to vacate easements in the Seville subdivision replat, which we looked at last month, has been approved. To pre-zoning request 134820 to pre-zone 10.97 acres to R3 single family residential, and that's the one that's up there off of McIntyre. That's been set for public hearing May 4th. Rezoning 134920 to rezone 29.64 acres from R3 single family to R5 single family patio homes on north side of Point Mallard Drive and west of the golf course, set for hearing May 4th. Pre-zoning 1350 to pre-zone 4.63 acres to R3 single family residential zone located east of Central Parkway, north of Ryan and Pool Valley, hearing set for May 4th. The next two go with that one. All three together will make the Wilshire development. Pre-zoning 135020. No, I'm rereading. I'm sorry. Rezoning 135120 to rezone a 20.9 acre tract from M1 Light Manufacturing to R3 single family residential. Rezoning 1352 to rezone a 12.5 acre tract from RMH residential to R3 single family residential. The hearings on all three of those have been set for May 4th, 2020. Zoning request 135320 to apply a B1 neighborhood commercial zone to a 4.42 acre tract that was recently annexed, and I read it to you at the beginning of this list. It had been approved. This is also set for May 4th, 2020. Another thing that the council is currently working on is making adjustments to the voting precincts and districts that are reflective of the annexations we've done for about the last 6 years, or since the last election. And at that point, let's just jump over the one Decatur update for a moment. We're going to designate Mr. Temple to go to the zoning committee on May 12th at 11. And we're going to designate Mr. Borden to go to the technical review committee. Well, I've done something wrong here because it says May 19th, but I think it's May 12th at 1:15. To update you all on the zoning rewrite, they have made the changes that came out of the public meetings and the things we've talked about in our reviews so far. And they've started working on Module 2. We're responding to an email from them about the changes that will probably go in to them this week. A little bit of our public hearing process on that has certainly been impacted by how this is working, so we'll have to see how the schedule on that will work in the future. Matt has been working very, very closely and coordinated everything with the Complete Count Committee for the City of Decatur, and we're proud to say that Morgan County had one of the best response rates in the state. So we feel like that was an effective effort and went well. Downtown public space usage, just so everyone is aware, the chief has put a hold on any public events. And we're continuing to monitor that with him, but none of them are allowed at this time. The other thing that he's put a hold on right now is the Arts and Entertainment District. It is not in effect for the duration, and he'll let us know when that changes. And now, we finally have, as we emailed out to all of you, this year's version of the One Decatur Plan update. I emailed it out to all of you. Some of you may have hard copies. Do you guys have anything, or would you like to discuss anything from that? You just thought you didn't want one.
I'd like to talk about on the update, the committee met, maybe 9, 10 times?
Yeah.
A lot of input, and Karen has spent a lot of time on updating this document. And I feel like there was a lot of progress made on the plan this year. And Karen did a good job in capturing all that and putting it and updating this document as to where the One Decatur plan stands right now.
And the committee has done an incredible job. I know that, I think we've been kind of feeling our way around with that and finding a good way to make it work. I think the last few meetings, we kind of advanced a lot with that and organizing the way we're doing comments, so.
I think we have a great committee. Very diverse, very different age groups.
Yeah, and new faces and old faces, and it's a good group. So, thoughts, comments, questions?
I know some of the community meetings that were scheduled, like for 6th Avenue, I think they're going to do them virtual now, so that's good. So I don't know if there's going to be more of those and how well attended that'll be as opposed to.
Has it been scheduled?
I was talking to Stratton yesterday. I think they're almost ready to put a date out there.
Okay. I'd like to encourage all of you to try to attend that virtually, if not in, well, we can in person, but.
Okay, any other comments? All right.
Well, that was really much
Covered
quicker.
everything?
Hey, Chip, can you talk to them about necessary and essential just a little bit, since we've got some time?
Yes, I guess as a practical matter, under the governor's guidelines for what can and cannot be handled through online. Obviously today we've got 3 here, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 participating, if I counted correctly, via teleconference. Under the Open Meetings Act, typically you cannot meet, you cannot achieve a quorum or have members of this commission or the city council, both participating online. There have to be that many people in person to have a meeting, and I believe the second reiteration of what the governor put out allowed these to meet under 2 conditions. One, that the item being discussed is essential and minimal government operation. The other thing for the city council is specifically related to COVID-19, which would mean implementing things or doing things related specifically to that. That doesn't really note that everything on the agenda is deemed by the planning commission to be both essential government function and minimal operations. Means we're not going off the reservation trying to do something dramatic. And when both of those, when that is adopted by the planning commission, then everything will be voted on. The people participating online can be determined to be part of the quorum, and they can actively participate in the vote.
Does anyone, including the people online, does anyone have any questions for Mr. Alexander? I'd like to say I'm very pleased with the steps that our governor has taken. I think she's doing a good job with this. So. Myrna, have you got any questions?
No, I don't have any questions, surprisingly.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm just teasing you. You're always good for a good question. Matt, since we have some time, and I know I'm throwing you under the bus here, do you want to talk a little bit about what we've done and what we're looking forward to doing when and if we can do it with social distancing with the census, the Complete Count Committee?
I haven't really thought much about that, to be honest with you.
I know.
We are, since everything is canceled for right now, I have contacted some of the venues just to see if this can get going before the deadline, which officially was September 1st, and it should be extended by 30 days. So we should have an extra 30 days, so July 31st to August 31st. So hopefully we might still be able to have some limited kind of event. We have been working with Lamar Advertising has been very gracious. I feel like they have been above and beyond. Because we signed a contract, I feel like it was just essential we had a contract, so we can't just say, well, COVID, so there's the end of our contract. And when I contacted him, he said the way they were handling it was, while there's a stay-at-home order, all of this essentially is free. They are providing any of this advertising, and then as soon as that ends officially today, so I believe the 30th, is that?
Right now it's the 30th. On the 28th, the governor will be taking recommendations from the committee she set up on how to extend it or not to extend it or what they're going to do. But right now everything is staying as it is until the 30th, and I suspect that will change dramatically and go to the phase based on the recommendation she gets on the 28th.
Okay. So some of this will depend on what those recommendations are, but officially when we are no longer in that stay-in order, then they're going to start billing our 30 days that we contracted for the billboards. So we've really got a lot of extra advertising. I know not a lot of people are out, but here is the best news. Of all the counties in Alabama, we were number 5 in response rates. We've now gone to number 4. So that is way up from last time. Our response rate at this time was about 46%, and now we're about 54%. So hopefully all this together has made a difference. And Kimberly Williams and Karen and everybody working on the ADEPA grant committee, Dana Pigg, who's moved on along with Alan Stover, wrote a really nice grant. So we were just one of few communities that got the grant. So far things are, I think, as good as they can be, and I even thought, well, if this order continues, maybe I just drive around and go wave at people and say, you want a shirt? Do the census. I don't know. We'll see.
I will say.
Hey, Matt, this is Tab, and I just want to
Yes, sir.
say that we received the notice about being in the top 5. That was really encouraging. So our hats off to everyone involved in getting us there. it's no doubt you've been the team captain for the city, but you talked about Ms. Williams, and then of course the county's involvement, NARCOG.
Yes.
Everyone working in concert to make this happen. So everybody knows the importance. So we still got to get it across the finish line.
Yes, sir, and I did not mean to leave out NARCOG and the other groups who were very helpful. Also, Sal
Oh,
he
yeah.
was very, very helpful in taking around all of those little swag bags to the Hispanic, the Latin community, and so I'm sure that all had to go.
I think that was
Yes, thank you, Mayor, for reminding me. It was a whole big group of us that I left out a couple of.
Holly Hicks from CAPNA, too,
right.
has set up a really good Facebook page and done a lot of sharing and encouraging people to fill out while they were bored or home being quarantined. And I think some of that has been very, very effective and done a great job of helping us get the word out. And I think the people that went from one grocery store to another for 3 days, is that right?
Yes.
Did a great job. So,
But selfishly, I got to eat some of the best food I've eaten in a long time.
so, okay.
We have almost 50 minutes, so, or 45 minutes. I think we should just recess and then
Okay.
call back in, or? Is
Okay.
that good with everybody that's on the phone to check back in with us about 5 minutes before?
Yes, so this is Myrna. Just to be clear, we're going to dial into the same WebEx meeting, and then on our laptop or iPad or whatever, we'll go through YouTube so we can see what's happening in the council chambers. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you should be able to see
Okay.
what's happening right now if you've already connected.
Yeah, I have. There seems to be quite a lag, though, the video being well behind the audio.
Okay.
So Myrna, if you're using an iPad, there's this tab. If you're using an iPad, Myrna, you have a camera and a microphone. And others have joined by phone.
Okay.
You may need to download the WebEx app.
Okay, then if all members will check back in at 3:25, and then we'll start the meeting at 3:30 as we normally do. Okay. This being the time and place for a regular scheduled meeting of the City of Decatur Planning Commission, I'd like to call us to an order. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Here.
Commissioner Borden,
Here.
Commissioner Wynn,
Here.
Commissioner Temple,
Here.
Commissioner Burrows,
Here.
Commissioner Culpepper,
Here.
Commissioner Pike,
Here.
and have any of the other commissioners called in the last few minutes?
The only other one would be Mr. Ard.
Right, okay.
Okay, the conduct of this meeting will be subject to restrictions implemented to comply with social separation requirements during the current crisis. We are considering items that have been recommended to be essential by the Technical Review Committee, a subcommittee of the Planning Commission. In the chamber today, the seats have been marked to ensure that no one is closer than 6 feet to anyone else in both the board area and for the audience. The requirement will be strictly enforced. Provisions have been made for the public to view the meeting and ask questions. If you wish to comment on any case, we ask that you email us now at planning@decatur-al.com. That's planning@decatur. My bad. planning@decatur-al.gov.
It's right here.
G-O-V, okay, and it's on the board here. Please include your name and your street address with your email. And if you would go ahead and do that now for any comments that you would like to make, even though we're not to that case yet, that would give us time to get it in before the case is read.
Hey, John, Kim says she's not hearing any sound on the YouTube. Kim, she's watching on YouTube. It's on now. She just texted. So. Okay.
Okay, are there any corrections or additions to the minutes of last month's meeting? If there are no corrections, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay, a motion by Mr. Borden,
Second.
second by Mr. Temple. All in favor state aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the minutes from last month are approved as submitted. Okay, the format for the meeting today is as follows. A representative from the planning department will read each case being presented to the commission today. The first part of today's meeting is a public hearing for this item. Minor plats, or plats that have more than 3 lots, direct access to public services, and a topo is provided for review. Each item in a public hearing will be read separately and voted on after comments and discussions. If you wish to comment on an item, we ask that you email us at planning@decatur-al.gov. And like I said, please include your address, your name and your street address. Okay, before we start with the regular agenda, I would like to move that the items on the agenda today are essential and minimal to the continuing function of our community as recommended by the Technical Review Committee. So I make that motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, that is seconded by Mr. Temple. Please call the roll.
Oh, Mr. Lawrence, Commissioner
Yes.
Lawrence,
Yes.
Commissioner Borden,
Yes.
Commissioner Wynn,
Yes.
Commissioner Temple,
Yes.
Commissioner Burrows,
Yes.
Commissioner Culpepper,
Yes.
Commissioner Pike.
Yes.
Okay, we have a unanimous vote by all commissioners that all items on today's agenda are essential. Now, I'll turn it over to Mrs. Smith to read the cases.
The first item on the agenda is a public hearing for a minor plat. It's a replat of Lot 9, which is Lot 9 of a replat of Lot 7 through 86 of Townhouse Gardens subdivision and other lands to the west and north. This is 5.8 acres being subdivided into 2 lots, which is a little unusual on a minor plat, but they chose to do this because much of this property is in the flood zone and has actually a floodway running through it. They are asking to subdivide into 2 tracts. One will be 5.3 acres and the other will be 0.5 acres. The address of the property is 2803 McDonald Court Southwest on the west side of McDonald Court and north of Hemingway Drive in an R6 single-family attached townhome zoning district. They are asking to maintain the current use of the land, which is primarily vacant and townhomes. And the one Decatur future land use is residential medium to high density. The one Decatur street topology is that both Hemingway and McDonald are local streets. The technical review committee recommends approval subject to these conditions and points of information. The TRC deems this to be an essential function of the city. To add a plat, note that no more than 1 residential structure or living quarters will be allowed on Lot 9A. The points of information are that any relocation of utilities will be at the owner's expense, and they are to be aware that a flood development permit will be required for development of this property.
Okay, if there's anyone that would like to make a comment by email, now is the time to do that. If there's, I think there's someone here that would like to speak to this. If so, if you would come forward and...
I'll
yes,
get 6 feet away so you can get there.
We'd ask for you to come forward, state your name and your street address, please.
Thank you. Kenneth Stewart Watts, 2823 McDonald Court Southwest. My property backs up to this. I was just curious as to what's going on. They've had a lot of dirt hauled in. Is this to address the floodplain right behind my house? And I was also wondering if they were building something. Is that going to affect floods? I know the other Sunday night we had a lot of rain, and for the first time I saw water actually encroaching my driveway. And it doesn't take but once for you to have a problem. You know, that might have been a very rare occurrence, but these things happen once every 10 years. It only takes one time for your house to be flooded.
Actually, what we're doing today, we're taking a small piece of that large tract of land and subdividing it out of the 5.8 acres, and then they're adding it to one of the tracts that the townhomes are on, Lot 9. So actually, they're making Lot 9 a little larger. And he's doing that where he has room on Lot 9 to build a building, a storage building. So they're really just separating pieces of the property. As far as what's left in the large tract of land, we're not doing anything with that today.
Do you know
it's still in a floodway. I think there's part of it that he could build on, but very, very little of that property is in such a fashion that they could build anything on. So, and it's our understanding they just plan to keep it and use it for recreation.
I was just wondering, while the dirt was brought in, is that to
we're not
adjust
aware
flow?
of any dirt being brought in, and necessarily don't have to be aware of that either.
Okay, well,
Now, you know, if they're causing a problem for you, I would recommend that you go to the building department.
no problem. I was just wondering, with all that dirt, where it is now, is that going to redirect the flow of a flood?
City engineer is on.
Carl, are you on?
I am.
Do you have any input that you could give
Watts?
Mr. Watts?
In my opinion, I guess, and talk with Herman through the years, if somebody owns a piece of property, I don't know, other than being in a floodway or flood zone, which Tom might could
allude to, there's nothing to say that somebody can't put dirt on their property. Now, if they do something redirect to their neighbor and cause damage, that's something between the two property owners. The city's not in the middle of that one.
Okay. So basically what he's saying, if he does something that diverts water onto you, then that's an action.
Of course,
you
that
have
would be
to
a
take
hard
up.
thing to prove.
Well, I don't know, but that's not something that the planning commission.
So the other's going to be warehouses or
No,
private
just
storage?
a small part, he's taking just a small part of the 5.8 acres.
The large part.
Right, and subdividing it off and adding it to one of those lots that a townhome is on, so that he can build a small storage building or a garage or something like that, as we understand it.
Okay,
There's not any large structure going to be built on what's left.
on the floodplain.
Right, you can't build anything on the floor.
Right, that's why I was wondering why the dirt was being brought in, if they were thinking of doing that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I check for him tomorrow with the department?
Okay.
It could be maybe for a pad for the building, potentially, I don't know.
He will be doing a pad.
Yes, but he should have a permit, and I'll double check that. I was, 25, 30 trucks.
Yeah, you can give him a copy of that.
Yeah, I'll sign that.
Mr. Watts, this is a copy of the survey, so you can sort of see what's happening.
You can keep that if you'd like.
I tried to put the separate out online, but there's where the building is going to be, and it is in FEMA floodplain. So that means that when they build their pad, they will need to go to the building department and do a construction.
That's approximately where the dirt is.
Isn't there a permit that they have to get, and it has to be above the FD?
So they're probably just trying to work that portion. Approximately all the dirt. Thank you.
You can keep that whole thing.
Okay, and that was the only case that we had in the public hearing portion of the meeting today. So now we will move to the consent agenda. And this is the part of the agenda that the planning commission has the final decision and does not require a public hearing. These items are all read as one and voted on as a group. Today we have certificates to subdivide, and that is a one-step process to subdivide no more than 3 lots or to consolidate lots. A survey is required for that. We also have a site plan. Site plan is proposed developments on a collector street or above. Plans show placement of the building, parking, circulation, landscaping, etc. If you wish to comment on either of these items or any of these items, you may do so by email at this time. And like I said, that's planning@decatur-al.gov.
And usually it's me that makes these mistakes, but we might want to vote on the replat.
Oh, yeah. Huh. This math is really throwing me off. I think we'll move back. Okay, so do we have a motion for the replat?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Temple,
Second?
second by Mr. Borden. Are any comments or discussion by the commission, anyone on the commission? If not, please call the roll.
Lawrence?
Yes.
Borden?
Yes.
Tate? Ms. Tate?
No, she's not here.
It's not.
Oh, sorry, you guys. I've got Wynn?
Yes.
Temple?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
Culpepper?
Yes.
Pike?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now we will go to the consent agenda, and I'm not going to read that again.
Great job. There is one applicant that has emailed and said that he would like to speak if there are any questions about the site plan review. Mr. Temple is online and available to us if we need to ask anything.
Okay.
Not Mr. Temple, Mr. McAnally.
Okay.
Mr. Temple is too, but the first item on the consent agenda is Certificate 3483-20. The applicant is Pew Wright McAnally for Gulf State Conference Association of Seventh Adventist Church.
Quick care. I think you were ahead.
You missed one.
I think you missed two.
I see, I was just trying to keep up with Kent. Okay, we're going to try this again. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Certificate 3482-20. The applicant is Pew Wright McAnally for Mr. Bob Later. They are asking to subdivide a 1.71 acre tract into two tracts of 0.66 acres and 1.06 acres. The property is located at 2040 Chapel Hill Road Southwest on the north side of Chapel Hill Road, west of Danville Road, in an Ag 2 agricultural zoning district. The property is located in the Rural Edge Agricultural Future Land Use, and the street topology for Chapel Hill Road is that it is a neighborhood connector. There are 5 conditions and 1 point of information. The TRC deems this an essential function. To provide a sealed survey for recording fees to be provided, to provide a letter signed by the owner requesting the certificate, and the acreages do not add up and are different from those in Certificate 3470-19, which we've been working with the engineers on and we think we have resolved. Let's try 3483-20 one more time. This is a request from Pew Wright McAnally representing Gulf State Conference Association of Seventh-day Adventist Church. They are asking to consolidate 6 tracts into one tract of 1.85 acres. The property is located at 540 and 538 Beltline Road Southwest on the north side of the Beltline between Belmead Street Southwest and Briar Avenue Southwest. The Decatur future land use for this area is community, commercial, and residential low density. The Beltline is a Beltline, and Belmead and Briar are both local streets. There are 6 conditions and 2 points of information. The TRC deems this an essential function, to provide a copy of the deed, to provide a sealed survey for recording, to payment of the recording fees, to provide a letter signed by the owner requesting the certificate, to dedicate a 10-foot easement for overhead power lines and gas lines. The points of information are that any relocation of utilities will be at the owner's expense, and to consider rezoning the entire consolidated tract to ID institutional zone. If there is any change to the usage or building footprint, the owner would have to rezone or go to the Board of Zoning Adjustment to get a use permitted on appeal to have a church in this location. The next item is Certificate 3484-20. The applicant is Pew Wright McAnally, representing the Waldens. They are asking to this is a request to consolidate and create a 0.48 acre tract. Property is located at 3104 and 3106 Pineview Drive Southwest on the east side of Pineview Drive Southwest, south of Kenilworth Road Southwest. It is in an R2 single-family residential zoning district. The proposed use for this land is single-family residential. The Decatur future land use is residential low density. Pineview is a local street. There are 4 conditions and 1 point of information. The TRC deems this an essential function, to provide a sealed survey for recording, payment of the recording fees, and to provide a letter signed by the owner requesting the certificate. Point of information is that any relocation of utilities will be at the owner's expense, and they do recommend approval of that. The next item, I'm sorry.
Let me interrupt just for a minute.
Yes, sir.
I got a message that people are having a hard time to hear, and if you're online, if you would mute yourself until you needed to speak, it creates an echo. And I received a message that was happening. So everybody that's connected through WebEx, if you would mute yourself until you needed to speak, please. Okay, you can go ahead. The
next item is Site Plan Review 597-20. The The applicant is Pewright McAnally for Jeff Parker. They are asking for approval to build a small warehouse and office at 2919 Fairgrounds Road Southwest, south of Sims Street at the end of Fairgrounds Road. The current zoning, or the recently approved zoning on the property, is M1A Expressway Commercial. They're asking for site plan approval to build this structure. The proposed land use is a warehouse office complex. The one Decatur future land use on this is institutional, but the ownership and planned use has changed, and this should be amended as it is no longer applicable or owned by a public entity. The one Decatur street topology is Fairgrounds and Sims are both local streets. There's one condition and 4 points of information. The condition is that the TRC deems this to be essential. Any relocation, the points of information are any relocation of utilities will be at the owner's expense, to provide a copy of the overall sketch plan for the project. Decatur Utility will be getting easements for the utilities, and they will provide planning copies of the recorded documents. These copies should be in the files prior to any further site plans being approved. There is an addendum that was recorded during the rezoning process. And this does come to you with a recommendation for approval, and I believe this ends the consent agenda.
Okay, we're going to allow about a minute for anyone that would like to email a comment for any of these requested cases. You got a time on that? And we're aware that we're running about 20-second delay. For those of you that are connected through WebEx or on your phone, was everybody able to understand all of that, or do we need to restate any of it?
I heard it.
Okay, I'm gonna take that everybody was able to hear all of it.
It was good.
So, did you have any emails already sent?
The only email I had was from one applicant who is viewing the meeting right now. And Blake, are you on the WebEx as well?
Yes, I am.
I suspect, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'll bet you'll let us just approve this as is, correct?
Correct.
Actually, he's the applicant on all the consent agenda items.
Okay. Okay, we did not receive any emails, so is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Borden, second by Mr. Temple. Any of the commissioners have any comments or statements at this time? Not, please call the roll.
Oh. Lawrence?
Yes.
Borden?
Yes.
Tate? Sorry. Wynn? Mr. Wynn? Mr. Wynn?
Joseph, if you're muted, you need to unmute first.
What about now?
There you go.
That's
We got
better.
you.
Aye?
So how do you vote, Joseph?
Yes, yes.
Temple?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
Culpepper?
Yes.
Pike?
Yes.
Okay, so those are all yeses for all these cases are approved.
Hey, would you mind telling me the motion and second again?
Motion was Mr. Borden, the second was Mr. Temple.
Thank you.
I would just like to make a comment to Mr. McAnally that we really like the way that you started this on this, with this site plan as far as laying everything out as we requested. And how you're planning for the future. We really appreciate that.
I think he and Mr. Parker have gone way above and beyond on this one.
Yes.
They've done a great job, so.
Very welcome.
And now, other business, Those are items that go to the city council for final approval, but do not require a public hearing. And today, we have an annexation, which is adding an unincorporated land contiguous to the city limits of our city boundaries.
This is annexation request 35920. We do have a pre-zoning on this application. The public hearing on that will be May the 4th at the city council. You guys did recommend approval for it to be an R3 and an R6 zoning district. This is 91.16 acres, currently outside the corporate limits, but pre-zoning is in process. I went through all that. The applicant is Pew Wright McAnally, representing the Morris Development. The property is north of Upper River Road between Old River Road and Deer Road. The one Decatur future land use for this area is mixed neighborhood. The one Decatur street topology is Upper River Road and Old River Road are neighborhood connectors. There are two conditions and one point of information. The TRC deems this an essential function, and we've asked them to provide us a map showing the property is contiguous. The point of information is that any relocation of utilities will be at the owner's expense, and it is recommended for approval.
Okay, again, we will allow 1 minute for anyone that would wish to email any comments regarding this annexation. planning@decatur-al.gov. And I take it you don't already have any emails on this one?
No, sir, I do not. We did have a lot of comments both at the council level and at this level last time. Our development community, our chamber, we're all in support of doing this, and they're looking forward to this being annexed and having these lots online.
Okay, seeing that we do not or have not received any emails, do we have a motion to recommend to the council to annex this property?
Motion to recommend for approval.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Temple, second by Mr. Borden. Any comments or questions from the commission? Okay, please call the roll.
Lawrence?
Yes.
Borden?
Yes.
Wynn?
Yes.
Perfect. Temple?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
Culpepper? I'm sorry, Ms. Burrows. She said yes. Culpepper?
Yes.
Pike?
Yes.
Okay. That is all the business that we had on the agenda for today. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion so moved.
Have a motion. All in favor state aye.
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 We are adjourned.
Hey, gang, great job in unusual circumstances. Thank you all for everything.